When you're young, when you're restless, when you're fun, cause you're desperate. Oh, here they come for a chance, for adventure. What's your poison? What's your pleasure? Oh, my city, she never sleeps. My city, she never weeps. My city, she keeps me alive. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, 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 oh. Give it my city, my city. My city, my city. Where do you go when your heart's with a fever? Won't you scroll, but you won't leave her? Oh, here we are, all the freaks and believers, all the sweet neon dreamers. Oh, my city. My city, she never sleeps. My city, she never weeps. My city, she keeps me alive. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh, oh. Give it my city, my city. My city, my city. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, my city, my city. Give it up for my city, running wild and looking pretty, oh, oh. Give it up for my city, my city, my city.
What's the story in the WWE, everyone? Tonight's topics are releases.
There have been 4 confirmed releases over the last 2 days.
A big return.
A superstar who has been out of action for quite some time will be returning on Monday Night Raw to give an update on his condition.
And a few more rumors that we've seen on the internet.
And if you want to figure out what those are, keep on watching.
Welcome back. To start off with, we're going to talk about releases.
So, there have been 4 releases over the last 2 days. The first one that we have was released 2 days ago now.
Yes.
And that is Ty Dillinger. He put in his word for wanting to leave, and then they gave it to him. So he was released 2 days ago. And then today we found out that TJ Perkins has been released. He is on 205 Live. And then Hideo Itami has been released too. We knew he was going to be released. We just didn't know when they were going to do it. So he was announced to be released today. And then we found out that Arn Anderson is leaving WWE. Isn't that nuts?
Well, I think it's kind of odd timing, especially since the Ric Flair
birthday thing is on Monday.
Is coming up on Monday Night Raw. So I was kind of shocked to see that Arn Anderson is going to be leaving the company. They
did have a whole bunch of new backstage producers and, just people that are helping backstage. They brought in a whole bunch of new ones over the last several days. So I guess it just kind of makes sense that he's leaving, I guess. Just, again, odd timing. Especially with the Ric Flair birthday celebration happening on Monday.
So is he going to immediately leave, or is this just like going to be there for a while and then leave down the road?
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like he's leaving, like, for good. I mean, he is pretty old, so I mean, if he just wanted to...
Pretty old? He's not like that.
I mean, he's not like old. He's like,
ancient,
no.
You know?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he just doesn't want to work on the backstage stuff anymore.
That's possible.
And he just wants to watch it as kind of like a fan.
Yeah.
And see what they do with it. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
But it is kind of shocking, the timing. It's just weird.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird too. What do you think of the three, TJP, Ty Dillinger, and Hideo Itami?
I'm not entirely shocked. I mean, with Hideo Itami, I knew he was going to be released because they said a while back that there were rumors about him putting in his word and that he would leave to maybe go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. But Ty Dillinger and TJP, I mean, I don't know.
Well, like TJP was just on...
he was just on 205 Live.
the other night.
So I don't know. I find it very odd that 2 out of the 3 of these guys were on 205 Live. So, I mean, maybe they're cutting back on 205 Live and they're going to move guys on 205 Live up to the main roster and they're just going to get rid of 205 Live entirely. So, they're getting rid of the ones who they don't feel are ready to go up to the main roster and then...
Well, then do you think that maybe there's going to be more cuts? I mean, if they're starting this cutting thing, maybe they're going to look to cut more people which wouldn't be a bad thing, I don't think, because right now they got so many wrestlers.
But they're not doing the right things with them.
They're not doing anything. I mean, they got a lot of wrestlers they're just really not doing anything with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this could just be the beginning of a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
You know, I thought...
I thought it was very odd that, I mean, yesterday they said that they had released Ty Dillinger, and then today, like, literally minutes apart, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I was like, oh, well, they confirmed that Hideo Itami, he's been released, he's gone now, and then, like, not even 5 minutes later, I was scrolling through again, and I was like, TJ Perkins is not released? I was like, what? So it just kind of shocked me, I guess. Like, they announced all of it at once, which is fine, but just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll just have to see if there's any more releases, see if there's any more people that would just like to get out of WWE right now.
And I'm not so sure that, at least with Ty Dillinger, I'm not so sure that he's not going to go to AEW because, there was an interview with Cody Rhodes talking about Ty Dillinger and on his release and that, you know, when Cody was going to another wrestling organization, Ty Dillinger happened to be in that organization and he took Cody underneath his wing, so to speak, and Cody Rhodes straight up said he was like, if I wasn't Dusty Rhodes' son, I wouldn't have gotten into it, but that's why they brought me on, so I wasn't very good, and, you know, Ty Dillinger took me underneath his wing, and he didn't treat me like I was a nuisance, or I was a problem. He worked with me, and he fixed things that needed to be fixed, and he made me a better wrestler, so I'm not so sure that Ty Dillinger is not gonna go to AEW.
It's possible. I know that
just due to the fact that he is such good friends. Well, what it sounds like is he's such good friends with Cody Rhodes. So to me, it would make sense for him to go to AEW.
I know that also in that interview that he said it doesn't necessarily mean he'll come to AEW. That
yeah.
It just Cody Rhodes would just help him out as much as he could.
Yeah. He said, you know, he helped me out so much that I'd be willing to do something for him because he helped make me the wrestler I am today. So, those 3 releases, I was like, okay, you know, interesting that 2 out of the 3 of them are from 205 Live.
Well, it didn't shock me just because, you know, like I said, some of these wrestlers aren't being used a lot.
And 205 Live guys, with being on 205 Live and not like on the main show, Well, Ty Dillinger, he was taken from NXT and moved up to the main roster, and then he was out with an injury, I believe. And then, I mean, he hasn't been back since. And so, you know, he put in his release and they gave it to him. And then, you know, both TJP and Hideo Itami are on 205 Live. So that's what, again, makes me think maybe they're cutting back on guys on 205 Live, and then they're going to move the ones they think they can move up to the main roster and then just get rid of 205 Live as a whole because not many people watch it.
Well, that's because it's in an odd time slot, and you know
it's right after it's right after SmackDown. So who's gonna want to stay up in another hour or whatever?
Well, they don't push it, so that's the big issue is they don't really push it. So it's not like it's, you know, if you're not pushing a product, it's not going to be out there and people aren't going to know about it.
Yeah,
you know? We probably wouldn't know anything about it if it wasn't for having the WWE Network. I mean, it'd be out there and nobody would have a clue, and we wouldn't have a clue. So it, you know, other than just them going 205 Live, you know, we'd probably be going, well, what is that?
Yeah.
So, you know, having the network kind of exposes us to it, and they do have some good wrestling on there, which is kind of sad that they don't.
They do. It makes me mad that, like, the cruiserweight matches, like, Elimination Chamber, they had Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa. That match totally should have been on the main show, not the pre-show. Just, if you're gonna, I think with at least Buddy Murphy, they should move up to the main roster, not just keep him on 205 Live, because he has a lot of talent, and he's good in the ring. And so I think they should move, like, him up, and I think Akira Tozawa could move up. And, you know, there's just, like, there are guys on there that do so well, and I think they do really well on the main roster. It's just, like, they just don't want to move them. They just don't want to move them up.
Well, and a lot of it goes back to the fact that they're not going to move them up because, you know, they don't use the talent necessarily they have now. So, you know, what do you expect out of them?
Yeah.
Another thing that we have is the big return.
It was announced yesterday that Roman Reigns will be returning to Raw to give an update on his condition. If you didn't know, which if you didn't know, you've probably been living under a rock, but he left several months ago due to the fact that he had leukemia and it had returned. He had it before and it returned, and so he's fighting it again. I'm very curious to see what he has to say and how he's doing. You know, we haven't seen Roman Reigns in months, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see him come back and you know, see what he has to say, see how he's doing, see where his treatment's going. You know, just overall, just see how he's doing is a big thing.
I mean, you would think because they're bringing him on TV, and they didn't say, you know, oh, it's gonna be over video, which is what they've done in the past when he was injured before. They had him send in a video. He's gonna be there live and in person, so that makes you think he must be doing pretty well then to, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably doing well enough that he could show up at Raw. But
yeah.
I mean, you know, like I said,
that's what I'm implying. He's well enough to, like, show up at Raw and
we'll
see
where it goes.
So then, Undertaker.
Vince McMahon apparently is not very happy with Undertaker. Since he is going to be signing.
Well, he was supposed to make an appearance at StarCast.
Yes.
The same weekend as the AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view.
Yeah, the one thing about that is they're not associated.
Yeah.
Okay. So StarCast and AEW, two different things. They just happen to be the same week. I'm sure that it was planned out. Have AEW and StarCast there at the same time, but it's they're not affiliated with each other.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Undertaker's going to be sign with AEW or anything like that. It's just the fact I think that they're both at the same venue, same area.
Yeah, it's one day.
Happening at the same time.
It's one day before the first pay-per-view Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
So
of
that's
course,
what people are getting
Vince
there.
is not very happy about it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess is to be expected because The Undertaker's been with WWE for such a long time. But, I don't know. I mean, I guess I get it, why he would be upset and be kind of salty about it.
I understand why he's upset.
But again, he's not a full-time star. He's not someone who's on WWE every single week. He's somebody who makes a return or shows up every, he's like Brock Lesnar, so to speak.
Well, the thing
where he shows up at WrestleMania and then you don't see him until like right before the next WrestleMania.
Why should Vince be upset? I mean, he has, when you allow Lesnar shows up every
27 years,
6 to 8 weeks. So the fact that the Undertaker is out, signing autographs or making appearances at other places, especially if he's not really under contract with WWE,
yeah,
it shouldn't matter.
And what makes this make not a lot of sense to me is I don't know. Even if he is still kind of signed under WWE, he's removed everything from his social media accounts relating to WWE. He has like an email down for, if you want to hit me up and I will do whatever event or whatever, So it's not even like he has stuff written down anymore to being connected to WWE.
Well, I'm sure that if
I'm
Vince,
sure I'm thinking his contract is coming to the end then.
If Vince wants to push him away and make him angry, I'm sure that he'd be more than happy to go sign with AEW, and I'm sure more than AEW would be more than happy to have him come in and
because
and
he's
do
such
some
a
shows for
big,
him.
he's so big and people know who he is, and I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me as to why Vince McMahon should be super upset. I mean, I guess I understand where he's coming from. Like he was one of our big stars before, and now he's going off and doing this, that, and the other thing. But like you said, he's no different than like Brock Lesnar coming in every, 25 years. Or, Undertaker removed all WWE from social media. So there's that. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to me, I guess, as to why he would be so upset.
Well,
because you see it coming because it's not like the Undertaker's going to be around and wrestle forever.
Well, I think the one thing is I think that he feels that the Undertaker owes them something
because he's been with the company for so long.
But
the
Undertaker kind of made his own name because before Mark Callow was the Undertaker, he was like a nobody.
Yeah.
And then he created this character that was like awesome, and so
it caught on with everybody.
He built it and used it. And really, Vince has no room to be upset with anything that happens. He has nothing to do with it. So,
So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me as to why he's so upset and salty. Next, there has been speculation and rumors going around that Becky Lynch will be at Raw on Monday. There have been reports that people have been putting out. Becky Lynch will be on Raw at the Ric Flair birthday celebration, and I won't be shocked if she is because this will be where stuff, that I won't be shocked.
It's not just that she said she'd be there is what's coming out.
Oh, okay.
So she said she would be there, so I would assume since she said she's going to be there. And we've been speculating that anyway because this would be the perfect time to...
Money Boy Gaming, he's making money for himself.
To give...
not Vince McMahon.
Definitely, I agree.
Well, that could be why Vince McMahon is salty too, is because he's not on his shows making him money.
Yeah.
And he's off making his own money his own way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good point.
So back to Becky Lynch, I think that, we've been speculating that she'd be at this Raw anyway.
I'm expecting her to be there 100%, because WrestleMania is in last I checked it was like 42 days or something like that. So it's like right around the corner. And so, they gotta build it up, and to get Becky back in that match, they're gonna have to book it,
Yeah, and I told you how I think it's gonna happen. I think she's gonna attack Flair, and that's gonna irritate
Yeah, that's what I said too. I said she's gonna get in the ring.
Ric Flair, not
She's gonna
Charlotte.
she's
I
gonna
think
get in
gonna
the
attack
ring.
Ric
She's
Flair.
gonna like Ric Flair be out there doing his woo woo, walking around, styling and profiling, and then Becky's gonna come out from the crowd or whatever, and she's gonna hop in the ring, and whether she's on crutches or not, I don't know, but she's gonna hit Ric Flair upside the head, and then Charlotte's gonna come out and be like.
Well, I think Charlotte's going to be out there. I think what's going to happen is that she's going to attack Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And Charlotte's been kind of cool throughout this whole thing and playing it. Even when she was attacked and stuff, she just said this is between me and Ronda. It's not about Becky Lynch right now. It's me and Ronda.
But I think after she goes after her dad, I think this is when she's going to be like, this is personal now. Like, you jerkwad.
I think so too. I think that's a storyline they're setting up, and I think that's where they're going to head with this storyline. I think that's where they're headed.
I would agree with that. I'm really curious to see what happens. The Usos.
Yes, the Usos.
So again,
was it Jimmy that got arrested?
Yes, it was. So for those of you that don't know, recently it was like last week. Was last weekend in Elimination Chamber, or was it the weekend before that? It was last weekend, wasn't it?
It was right before Elimination Chamber, I believe, because
yeah.
they got arrested before.
It was so Jimmy Uso was arrested at the weekend before Elimination Chamber, I believe, or a few days before Elimination Chamber, and at first we didn't know that going into it when we made our predictions. We didn't know anything about it, so we were going with the logical option of what we think they would do storyline wise. But they were arrested. Jimmy Uso was arrested right before that, and Naomi was involved with it too.
Well, she was driving the car.
She was driving the car. She was driving the car, but she wasn't arrested. It was just Jimmy, because he got out and like tried to be all tough and was like, I'm gonna beat the cops up and this, that, and the other thing, and so he was arrested. And then turn around to Elimination Chamber. People had been saying, with everything that happened, they weren't going to win the titles, but then they did, which, like, kind of shocked people. They were like, does that make any sense? Like, why would you do that? Well, for me, I said, that, for me, like, if I was in the storyline making aspect of it, and you had a storyline set up, you wouldn't go and change that just because of something that someone did. I mean, going forward, you can change a storyline, but what you have already set for Elimination Chamber, because it was so close to it, they're not gonna change the stuff that they have going on with Shane and Miz and then the Usos.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like coming from that standpoint. Yeah, what he did was wrong and everything, but it doesn't make any sense to me to like change things that you already had down, and then you have to come up with a whole new thing with the pay-per-view like that weekend. So it didn't make any sense to me to like change storylines. So their contract is supposed to be up in April, both Usos, and people are speculating that they're gonna leave, or they are going to be like not fired but like released from WWE. They're just gonna say, hey, we've had so many incidents with you. Your contract's up, re-sign if you want, but, this is the way it's going to go, and there you go.
Well, the one thing that kind of makes everything questionable on whether the Usos will re-sign or not is the fact that Rikishi,
Their father.
the Usos' father, had come out posted a tweet basically stating that his sons had nothing to prove, that they've done everything they possibly could, and they've achieved as much success as they possibly could in WWE, or even elsewhere. So, it kind of threw out the idea that maybe the Usos are looking to leave.
And they'll become, like, free agents in April.
Yes. So
as soon as their contracts are up. So what could happen going forward is Fastlane comes along, they retain the championships, and then they go forward to defend them at Mania, but then they lose them, and then right after that they leave.
That is possible, and maybe they're
it's questionable as to after that what would they do with Naomi? Would Naomi?
Well, the thing is maybe they're doing this to get more money.
I mean,
I mean, that's possible that they're going to do that. So, you have to wait and see what's going to happen. And
If they do leave, then what would they do with Naomi? Would Naomi stay because Naomi is
I don't
married
know.
to one of the Usos?
It's been because I don't know when her contract's up or anything like
Yeah,
that. So that would
that's
be the big
another thing.
Is, I mean, I would think that she'd have to honor her contract unless they would just be willing to let her out of it, which I think would be a mistake. As far as using her for talent, but if it's going to cause friction and things like that, then I suppose you let her go. But I don't know. I don't know that the Usos will leave. I think this was just like a lot of talk from their dad and things like that, and he's kind of frustrated with how they've been used throughout. Recently up until they won the titles at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a lot of frustration.
It's probably him just looking in as. Well, I mean, obviously he knows the behind the scenes stuff because he is like their dad, and they would talk to him. But him watching as a fan, just the way they've been used.
Well, and the bad thing,
more...
the bad thing for some of these wrestlers is their contracts are up before AEW has their pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So
and there's a 90-day. That's what they were talking about with Ty Dillinger and TJP. Is that with their 90 days, no going to any other company after you've been released from us clause, it would go right up after a few days after the AEW pay-per-view. So then they can't go wrestle for AEW and they can't get hired for AEW until after their big event.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter. But the big question, you have an issue there with the Usos. Do they sign their contract after it's up? Or do they wait and see, what's going to happen with AEW and decide, maybe they're going to get an offer from them to come and wrestle there? I know Cody Rhodes has talked about, having another big name or two coming into AEW.
And it's been said that they have already contacted people that are still in contracts right now with WWE that are big names, and people are speculating who those big names could be.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. The
John Cena. There are rumors that he is expected to wrestle at WrestleMania 35. Unsure of who he's going to wrestle. I remember reading some rumors before saying that he was going to wrestle Lars Sullivan, but then Lars Sullivan had his anxiety attack or whatever happened as to why he did not show up in WWE when he was supposed to. So, I mean, maybe Lars Sullivan will show up right before WrestleMania, or John Cena will come out and say, hey, I've got an open challenge. Anybody can come fight me. And then Lars Sullivan comes out and he gets his butt kicked.
That is possible if Lars Sullivan is back and, healthy and
if they're going to go that way.
So, I mean, that's the big thing with him. And then the last little nugget that we have is there is a rumor that there is a front runner for the AEW TV deal. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. But there's a rumor that there is a front runner. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the AEW needs to get a TV contract to become known, to get out there for mainstream. So we'll see where it goes.
Another one that I did read on a couple days ago. It was this was before stuff with Vince McMahon not being happy with The Undertaker came out. Talking about The Undertaker potentially having a match at WrestleMania 35. Not sure with who, but he might show up at Mania. He also might not. I mean, again, I guess it really depends on what Vince feels and what he thinks, if he reaches out to The Undertaker or if he doesn't.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And I mean, this is a while back, like a couple streams ago, we did an Undertaker leaving WWE stream, and they talked about The Undertaker's asking for a lot of money when he shows up to these one-time WWE events. And so, again, it's another thing of, are they willing to shell out that much to get The Undertaker on TV and have him do his thing? Or are they not?
I'd much rather see him than Brock Lesnar, so...
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that statement.
That stuff with, they do it with Brock Lesnar, so... I would do it with the Undertaker. I mean, me personally, if I was like running the show, but you know. So I think that's pretty much what we have. Just a reminder, we stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday night after SmackDown, every Wednesday night after NXT. Tonight we decided to do it because we had some rumors and things, little juicy tidbits to throw out there.
Yep.
We don't normally do it.
Normally it's just a quick short stream, not super long. I mean,
look for, if we get any more rumors and we feel that we have enough to talk about, we'll get on here and talk about it. We also stream live, usually the Friday before pay-per-views, but may do it on Saturday sometimes.
It really just depends on if there's a takeover that weekend or not.
And then we always stream after the pay-per-view has happened and it is done. We stream after that. Make sure that you give us a like if you liked what you saw, or a dislike, whichever one you want. Just make sure that if you give us a dislike, especially, let us know what you didn't like so we can try to fix our streams to make them better for everybody out there.
Make sure to subscribe and click the little notification bell so then you are notified every time we go live. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays after pay-per-views, sometimes just during the week like this is right now.
Yep, this is an out of the blue
to talk about rumors and speculation. You can also find us on Twitter. I am at Maven Gleen.
You can find us at the Wrestle Story, and you can find me at Mr._Gleen.
I think that is it. We will be back on Monday
to talk about Raw and about Becky Lynch attacking Ric Flair.
And Roman Reigns update. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so then you're back here on Monday after Raw.
Yes.
To watch us talk about that.
All right. Till then, peace out.
Bye, guys.